Good morning, everybody. My name's Diana. This is Diana Simplifies, and we're going to do an easy crockpot recipe today. So this is creamy chicken rigatoni, and this is from Jessica Donna. I think her name is O'Donoghue. Jessica O'Donoghue. Her YouTube page. She got it off of TikTok, so it's not an original to her. Anyway, I've already sprayed my crock pot. This is what I spray with. You can spray yours with whatever. By the way, my crock pot's super old. This is with Spencer's, can't see it, this was Spencer's grandmother's. You can see how old it is, but it works great. I am gonna cook my chicken on slow, so it'll be about 6 hours. And then there's two steps to this. So I've got my chicken breasts already in there. They were very messy, and I wanted to go ahead and put them in there and wash my hands. So there's 2 chicken breasts in there. They're already in there. I sprayed the crock pot. I put the 2 breasts in. Now I'm gonna do a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. So that's the one that I'm using right there. You can use whichever brand you want. Should have just taken that little thing off because it takes forever to get this to come out. All right, that's good enough. Okay. And then I'm going to do a tablespoon of garlic powder. Now she had to cut her recipe down from what she watched on TikTok. This is brand new, so I bet I'm gonna have to take something off here. Let me see. Yeah, I just bought this yesterday because mine's always garlic salt, and I wanted to just get the powder because everything is just calling for garlic powder that I'm doing. Could use those scissors right there, but I think I used those on the chicken. So I don't want to do that. Thanks. It smells good. Okay, we don't love tons of garlic, so she said 1 tablespoon. I'm gonna half that because we're not huge garlic fans. So I don't want to overdo the garlic. So I'm just gonna do about like that. I think that'll be plenty. Okay, and the next thing was black pepper. This is also new. Let's see if I can. I'm going to go ahead and do a whole tablespoon of the black pepper. Okay. Ooh, that smells good. And that I just got that from Aldi. This is even expensive at Aldi. It was $3 for this little tiny thing. This was 3 ounces. I thought it would be cheaper, but anyway, whatever. $3 for 3 ounces. Okay. Now, she used an Italian salad dressing packet, and I am leaving this out. I've got a recipe. I'm going to put it together, and I think I'll put it in there later because this is a 2-step process. I did not get it together before I started this, and I need to go ahead and get this chicken going so we can eat this tonight. So I'm going to deal with this Italian thing later. So she said the recipe actually called for the Lipton Onion Soup, but she does not like to use that because of the onions. I also cannot do onions. I cannot do the Lipton Onion Soup packet, and I didn't actually want to buy the Italian dressing packet either because I'd rather just put mine together. So I think that I did a screenshot of a recipe that I can just add that into the description if you want to make your own packet like I'm doing, but like I said, I'm going to add it later. Okay, 1 can cream of chicken soup. So I'm done with this. All right, so here's my cream of chicken soup, 1 can of that. I also have a recipe now I just found of making your own cream of chicken soup, and it only needs a few things, and I was gonna go ahead and do it, and then I realized it just said seasoning and didn't really say what seasoning. So I think I need to look into that a little bit more. I found a recipe for it, but when you just say seasoning, what does that even mean? Does that just mean salt and pepper? I don't know. So I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more, but you can make your own. It makes a huge amount to where you can put it into jars. I think it even said you could freeze the jars if you wanted to, but I would think as much as I'm using this, I could probably just put it in the refrigerator. Well, I don't think I'd have to freeze it. But anyway, they suggested putting it in glass jars and freezing it, but like I said, I think you could just put it in a container in the refrigerator, probably. And this is always just 10 ounces, I think. Yeah, 10.5 ounces, so then you could just measure out. Okay, so cream of chicken soup. Okay, 1.5 cup heavy whipping cream. I wanted to measure out my bone broth first because this is a, you know, I've been using this. Now she just used chicken broth, but I always use bone broth. So I'm going to put this in first before the heavy whipping cream because I need to make sure, I'd already been using this. I want to make sure there was actually a cup in here. She said 1 cup to 1.5 cups of this, and I think 1 cup will be fine. So I'm just going to put 1 cup of bone broth. She said 1 to 1.5 cups of chicken broth. And of course, I always use bone broth. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on top. And then I can go ahead and measure out my heavy whipping cream. So that's what this is. Heavy whipping cream. And I'm a dingbat. I've never actually used this before. By the way, this doesn't have any, it says it has 0 carbs. So that's a plus if you're doing the less carb. Now this is a pasta dish, but if you're doing the low carbs, you could just do, you know, they have those no carb or low carb noodles. I don't personally like them. I did try them and I couldn't do it. But, you know, if that's what you're doing and you're doing, you know, if you're wanting to do no sugar for health reasons, where does it even say, oh, 1.5 cups? I couldn't see where it said 1.5 cups. Okay, 1.5 cups. 1.5 cup heavy whipping cream. Okay, so there's 1.5 cups of that. This is a lot of liquid. I don't usually use this much liquid when I'm cooking chicken, but anyway, this is a lot of liquid, and then she says later to add more, so we'll see. I know you need liquid to do the pasta, but okay. 4 tablespoons butter. Now I'm going to cut my butter right here, and I'm just eyeballing the butter because I use this this Irish, it's hard to see because I've been using it, but this is the Irish butter from Aldi. This is like the Kerrygold. So this is the butter that I use because it's grass-fed butter from Ireland. So this is about what I'm dealing with, and I think I'm just going to put half of that in there because it's hard to say exactly how much 4 tablespoons is in this thing. So I'm just going to half it. I think that'll be plenty. And then I'm actually going to just cut it into, I just realized you can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut it into 3 little pieces. So I'm going to just do it like this, 3 pieces, and put in there. And then that was the other half that I had left. I make grilled ham and cheese a lot, so I use quite a bit of this butter when I'm doing the grilled ham and cheese. Okay, put that away, and I think I'm almost done. Now, she used 1/2 block of the cream cheese. I use this. This is a little bit different than the cream cheese, but this is what I use. This is I think it's German. I'm guessing that's a German word. This is from Aldi, and I like to use this. It does say it's less fat. I'm actually not too worried about the fat content, but if you are, this is less fat, and this does come from Aldi. And she said she only used half. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use a whole one. I think I normally use the whole thing when I put cream cheese in here. And I've got an extra one in my refrigerator, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use the whole thing. I like a lot of cheese. It makes it very creamy. So, get into it. My hands are slippery. Okay, I'm gonna have to use those scissors I said I want to use. But it's okay because it's all going to the pot anyway. Maybe. I should have opened this before I started. There we go. Okay, so here's what that looks like. It just looks just like cream cheese. That's it. To me, it's just like cream cheese. I'm not really sure what the difference is except the fat content. And I'm just gonna kind of spoon it out of here because possibly, or maybe not. All right. It's one of those things you should do before you start, obviously. All right, that's looking super creamy. So are my fingers. And there's some on this thing too. See if I can get this off of here. Don't want to waste the cream cheese. All right, let me wash my hands real quick. Okay, so the butter, the cream cheese, what I had left was the broth, which I already put in there. Now, she put 2 dashes of hot sauce. I do not have any hot sauce, so I'm not doing the hot sauce. Although I think the hot sauce would be really yummy, but I'm not doing it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this on low. And where did my top go? Top's over here. So I'm gonna do it on low because I like my chicken to, when I use high on this, I don't know if it's because an older one, but when I do high, it's very, it's tough. I don't like the way it cooks. So I'm gonna do low for 6 hours. I'll probably do low for 5 hours and then see if I can shred it at that point. So it's about 11 o'clock right now. See if I can shred it at that point and then, add the pasta in. I think there's a few more things besides pasta that she added in. I've got to go back and watch, but yeah. So it does have a lot of, ingredients, but they're not difficult to find ingredients. They're pretty easy to find. Some of this you may have on hand already, like the butter, and maybe you've got the broth on hand and some of these other spices and stuff. So this wasn't difficult to put together. All right, so I'll come back and show you the rest in a little while, 6 hours. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I just turned it on low, but I wanted you to see what it looked like since I did try to prop it up where you could actually see what I was doing, but I need to prop it even higher. It was propped up on a box and a notebook, and it still wasn't high enough. So anyway, this is what it looks like. Okay guys, it's about 6 hours later. I'm back. I've stirred all this. I actually ended up using this meat chopper, but I was trying to get it apart with these tongs, the chicken, but this seemed to work better. I usually don't like this as much, but it worked good for the chicken. So it's been about 6 hours on low. I did taste it, and it seemed like it needed some salt. So I put some of that pink Himalayan salt that I have. You can use any kind of salt. That's just what I use. Now she's saying that I'm supposed to put another 1.5 cups of this in here to add the pasta and the cheese. There's an awful lot of liquid in here. I really don't want to add a whole 1.5 cups if I don't. That's a lot. It seems like a lot to me. So I think what I'm going to do, and she didn't even say how much pasta. I was trying to look on hers to see what she had added. I couldn't really tell. So I'm using 1.5 cups, which, you know, that may be way too much. I have no idea, honestly. I don't know if a cup was enough. She had a box of it, and I really can't tell. Is that 2 cups? I don't know what it is. And she's, they're also, it's supposed to be rigatoni. I'm just using elbow. This is what I have. So just use whatever you have. It doesn't have to be fancy. It called for smoked Gouda. I was at Aldi. I didn't see any smoked Gouda, so I just got this, and I got the Gouda slices, so I figured I'd use both of these. Also the Parmesan, so all I had was the grated. I think you could use the shredded if you wanted, either way, but I'm gonna use this grated. Okay, so I did add some salt. I also added some Tony's. Hang on, I'll put it back up. Because I didn't have any hot sauce, I put some Tony's in there because this just tends to help. This also has some salt in it. It just tasted like it needed something. It tasted kind of sour and bitter. And it tastes better now that I added the salt. So I haven't tasted it since I added this. But I just sprinkled some in here. I didn't really measure it. I just kind of sprinkled on the top. So I'm gonna take the top off. I'm gonna put this in. I am gonna use some of this, but I don't think I'm even gonna measure it. I'm just gonna, we'll see how it goes. And then she says cook it another 45 minutes, but I've been cooking on low and she cooked on high. So does that mean I need to turn it up? I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in. I'm just gonna use this thing to kind of stir it around. It probably does need some liquid since I'm gonna add cheese in there too. Honestly, I don't, because I know that's gonna, obviously that's gonna swell up some. So we'll just measure half a cup. I feel like it doesn't need a whole cup. It looks like about half a cup there. I guess if I don't like the way it looks, I can add some more, right? I just don't want it to be just tons of liquid. I don't know. Maybe that's weird. Okay, stir it up a little. Now I'm going to start adding the cheese. I think I'm going to dump this entire, I'm just going to dump this entire thing in there, the cubed. Just kind of stir on a little bit more. And I guess I'll turn it up because she had hers on high, so I guess I'll turn it up on high. And then I'm gonna, I forgot I was gonna put some of this on here. Let's see. Some of the Parmesan. Of course, all this cheese has salt in it, so I think that'll help too, to have some salt in your cheese. Okay, I think that's probably enough. I don't know whether to add some of the Gouda on top or if this would be enough. I was actually thinking about just adding some in American. That's actually what she ended up putting on there because she didn't have any Gouda. And the Gouda doesn't have that much taste, so I think I may add it off camera, because I'm just going to go ahead and turn this up. But off camera, I think I'm going to go ahead and add like just 4 slices of American cheese, and then I'll be back with you and show you what the end result looks like, and I'll also, I guess, tell you a little bit what I think about it as well. Okay guys, here's the finished product. So I'm holding my iPad, so I can't really use the spoon to show you, but I have stirred it several times. I stirred all that nice cheese into there, and the macaroni is ready. It is done. So the chicken's done, the macaroni's done, the cheese is all melted. I did do it on high for 45 minutes, just like it said. I checked it about, I think 25 minutes in, and it definitely was not ready. So it needed the 45 minutes on high to get finished, and it tastes really good. I did add 4 slices of American cheese, plus that entire package of the Gouda that I showed you, plus some of the Parmesan, all the stuff that I showed you. I added all that, and the taste is much better. It's not bitter anymore. It's plenty salty. It's actually very good. So anyway, I just wanted to update you. It does taste good. It looks really yummy. I can't wait to see what Spencer thinks. Thanks for joining me. Love you guys. Bye-bye.